just a small thing there. When the ball notices his hit, he could brig bash the ball here, but he's trying to get more DPS down, right? He knows the exact range on his bash. He goes for one more brig swing and then goes for the bash, so that he's basically getting more DPS down. He's min-maxing this situation on the brig. Hello guys, my name is Coach Hayes and welcome to another video. Before we get into it today, I want to quickly let you guys know that I'm now offering individual and team coaching over on my website, coachhayes.com. Check the link down in the description if you're interested, and enjoy the video. Hello guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be reviewing actually the first main support on the channel. We're going to be reviewing AdmiralRaptr, who we have here playing the, I believe he's playing Brig. He might also be playing the Mercy. First thing we always do when we look at the composition, first thing we always do when we break down a video and break down a match is we look at the compositions. We look at who's in the game. We want to see how stacked this game is. So if we look at team 2, Admiral's team, we got Kevster on the McCree. We got Afox, I believe this is Afox account on the Zen. Dora, I'm not sure who this is. We got Sigma on the Brig. We got Dora on the Sigma. And we got Amina, I also don't know who this is, but again on ball. Obviously Admiral on the Brig, and then Shadow 2K playing the Hanzo. Team 1 on the other side of this, we have Ball. Obviously the European ball player playing the ball. Crandop. Everybody knows Crandop. Lethal playing the support. Haven't seen Lethal playing the support before, so it's going to be interesting. This is a DPS player. He's off-rolling on support, so we'll see how he does on that. And then Magback, not sure who this is, and I believe this is, I believe Dice is Sparker on one of his Smurf accounts. Both teams playing very standard compositions, playing the meta compositions. One thing to note, this is on the new patch, so they are playing with the new Sigma changes, the new Hanzo changes, so we are seeing both teams running a Hanzo here. I haven't actually seen the new Hanzo yet, so I'm interested to see how strong this character is. I've heard a lot of things saying he's very, very strong. Now, let's go to Admiral. So one thing I'm going to be looking out for on the Brig here is like how well he's going to be denying the enemy ball, and also how consistently he can keep his inspire rate up. A big job of the Zen in this composition, a big job of the Brig in this composition, is to provide core support for the Sigma and the Zen. He's not going to be having to deal with a ball tracer diving, so he only really has to deal with actually the ball coming in. So we're going to be paying attention to how he's using packs, how he's keeping Inspire up, and also how he's denying the enemy ball. Brig is a lot about just staying alive and getting value from keeping your Inspire up, denying enemies from getting close. Obviously with the stuns. Brig is a lot harder than people might think. Because on Brig, you have to be constantly aware of like a 360-degree angle, because obviously the flankers and DPS are going to be coming from behind. In this situation, it's only a ball, so he's likely going to be coming from behind. Maybe he's going to slam off the top, but he does need to be aware of kind of like every different angle on the Brig here, which is not easy. So he's playing versus Hanzo and McCree. He's using this natural cover on the corner here. He doesn't need to be out here, right? He doesn't need to be peeking out. So he's playing this natural cover so he doesn't get picked off by the Hanzo. Need to switch this real quick. Okay. It's a nice bash onto the ball, and this is a hard comp for the ball to play into, right? Because the enemy ball has to deal with McCree stun, Brig whip shot, Sig Rock, Zen Discord. There's so many threats that Chasm has to deal with here on the ball. So he does need to be somewhat careful here playing the ball. But nice stun there from Raptor. That stun leads into a McCree stun, into more CC. And after he goes for the stun, he sits in this little corner here. And just LOS's the enemies, because he doesn't need to be out in the open, right? As long as his Inspire is up, and as long as he's denying the enemy ball, he's doing his job. So they get 2 picks, so he starts walking forward aggressively. He is discorded. Gets a nice Inspire. And obviously everybody knows that whenever he hits any visibility, he damages the enemies. He's going to get that Inspire up. So we're going to see him constantly trying to get that up. He hears the enemy ball coming behind. Gives the packs to Shatter. Pretty straightforward so far. One thing that people might not appreciate is like how well he's playing around natural cover. And this is something that pros do at the highest level. They really understand how to play around natural cover. And this is something that a lot of people that are watching this can learn from is you should be playing natural cover more often on any hero in Overwatch. Even Reinhardt's playing natural cover. It's really important. It's basically a free shield, right? That can't get broken. And like I said, his job on the Brig here is keep Inspire up, deny the enemy ball as best as he can, and find value from just staying alive here and providing that core support for his Zen. See how often he's looking behind here to try and find this ball? Huge whip shot there. He doesn't go for the whip shot when he doesn't go for the Brig shield bash when the ball is pile driving. He goes for the whip shot instead, still having his shield bash now if the ball comes in. But ball can't come in now. He's used power drive, so this is pretty futile now for the ball player. Goes for the stun. Goes for the whip shot. He misses the whip shot, but pretty close. They're 1-for-1 right now, so they've traded their ball for they've traded the enemy ball for they've traded their McCree for their ball. Instantly pops a rally here. I'm sure you guys know, like, when a Brig is rallying, it's just the worst thing, right? Like, the Brig is rallying, if you don't have your own rally, you just probably go next fight. Unless you have some sort of ult that can counter the Brig. Keeps looking around for the ball. I think his ball is actually marking the enemy ball, so they're just escorting the payload right now. They're happy with this. They're really happy with this. Just pushing the payload for free. Ball comes in. His team use Sigil. They kill the enemy Sig. Gets a nice Brig bash onto the ball there. Gives the pack to the Sig when the Sig is low. Instantly looking behind, gets the bash on the ball. And obviously the mines are here right now, so like he needs to back off, right? So they're backing off. He avoids the dragon. Again, like, ball is having a tough time versus this, right? Just because of how well he's denying the ball here. And this is the problem with playing ball into Brig is you play against a good Brig, and he just knows where you are permanently. He's just always looking for you. Does manage to avoid it there. Okay, so they get Sigilted. 2 people get picked off in the Sigil. He does dodge the Sigil, but it's pretty much over when you lose 2. I'm gonna focus a little bit more on pack usage because I've been kind of like overlooking it. I'll focus more on the pack usage here as well and try and explain to you his pack usage. In general, he's not over spamming the packs right now. He's just kind of giving them out when someone needs them. Like McCree's on a off angle position there, so he gives the pack, and that pack is going to be back in it's going to be back in like a couple seconds now. So he should be okay. Looking behind, checking if someone needs the packs. Gives the pack instantly, and you see how quickly he's also giving out the packs here. Like, he's not wasting any time with this. Sees someone is low, sees someone needs the pack, gives the pack instantly. Gets the Inspire on the enemy ball, and he decides to go left side with the McCree here. I like this position a lot because he can still provide support for his people pushing the payload, but he can also give this key support to Kevster, who's pushing the flank here. Enemy uses trance. No one's on payload right now, so... Yeah, unfortunately his tanks have died here, so... Can't really get too much done there. So shield breaks, he's hiding behind the cover. I think he might die here though. Okay, nice boop. You see this? See how well he's playing around natural cover there? Like, he loses his shield. He pushes back into this room. He then sees the Hanzo is peeking him from here, so he knows that if he stays here, he's dead. So he takes the other option, comes back outside, and then he's avoiding the cover, avoiding the line of sight, playing behind this box here. And that is pretty much ultimately what kept him alive here. Just the way he's using the natural cover and the way he's playing behind it to avoid getting picked there. Okay, so they got rally up. I want to see if they have the brawl advantage. So the brawl advantage basically means which team has the ult advantage in this situation. So the key to having the brawl advantage is if you look at the support ults. They're very close to a Zen ult and they have Brig ult. So in theory, if they have these two ults, they can walk forward quite aggressively. And if the enemy doesn't have defensive ults to mirror this, the enemy is going to have to give up all the space. So I wonder if we're going to see him walk aggressively and walk his team left side to go for a rally engage here. They're rallying, they're walking left. I'm not sure how much space they can take here because Sig is not playing frontline. But it looks like they're going to go for this. They do trade the Brig actually. So Lethal gets traded. So they've cleared all of this left side now, which is really, really good because obviously Kevster and Sigma now can control this left. He Brig bashes just to get into position there to give support to the Zen. Oh, he does go for the bash, but Sig's already dead. Okay, really clean actually. Really nice. Good. He identified that, his team identified that left side on the map there was the key kind of like position they needed to control. And so they just started walking people left, and he committed that rally there to try and get it. Unfortunately, for Team 1, they didn't have any defensive to kind of hold that position. If we would have seen Lethal would have had a Brig ult there, they could have actually held the space there and held position, right? Because they have an even situation. Both teams are using rally. But in this situation, because Team 2 had the brawl advantage, they were confident to push forward and use that rally advantage that they had. I know for a fact, I've coached Admiral before, his ult tracking is like really, really, really good. So I'm guessing in this situation, he probably knew what the enemies had. I mean, it's ranked, so I'm not sure if he's ult tracking, but I know for a fact in scrims, he's really, really consistent with his ult tracking.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Do you see that? You see what we just saw there? He's watching the ball. He sees the ball is coming left. He starts to mirror the ball. Just a small thing there. When the ball notices it hit, he could Brig bash the ball here, but he's trying to get more DPS down, right? He knows the exact range on his bash. He goes for one more Brig swing and then goes for the bash, so that he's basically getting more DPS down. He's min-maxing this situation on the Brig. So he gets 2 swings down and then goes to the bash. He bashes as late as possible so that the ball tries to get away, and then he kind of obviously stuns him and brings him back. Goes for the Brig bash again. Goes for the whip shot to bash the guy back into the corner. And he basically, he just forced the ball shield and made the ball half HP. Meanwhile, he doesn't really need to be with his Zen, right? Because what threat does the enemy have that can get on his Zen? Nothing. They don't have a Tracer. They don't have a Genji. They only have 2 kind of like hit scan DPS. So Ball is the only one that can really apply pressure to his core. So he's happy just to mirror the ball in this situation. I think the other reason he's holding this position now is because if the enemy ball comes through this hotel, he's going to have to deal with Zen, McCree, Hanzo, Sigma. So I think he's anticipating where the enemy ball is going to come from here, and that's why he's holding top left. He does actually decide to drop down. Shadow's in the kind of a sketchy position, so he packs the Hanzo there. Gets a nice whip shot again, denying that power driver on the ball. And this is kind of just a showcase of why Brig is just so oppressive against ball players. He's using the sound information he has here. He hears the ball is coming back left. Starts to deny him. Again, he's just mirroring this ball. Ball can't do anything. He legit can't do anything. He knows the enemy ball is up top, but he's trying to keep awareness on his teammates' HP. If he just stands here and looks up top at the ball, one of his teammates may get critical and may need heals. So he is looking around constantly. Looking around constantly to try and get information on if his team needs heals. Gets the... He lands a really nice whip shot there to stop the ball from coming in. Ball in decides not to come in. And again, all of these abilities he's landing, he's getting free Inspire up. So he's getting that ult charge and he's getting the healing down. Again, he procs the Inspire. Sees his Sigmas going forward, so he walks forward aggressively. His ball also went in. A big part of this meta is when your ball is engaging, if your core can get into a position to follow up on the engage, that's when you go forward and pressure. Unfortunately, Amina gets taken down, so... Team 2 are in a pretty tough situation now. A-Fox is playing out in the open. So he gets taken down. I think, yeah, Admiral's gonna fall. They lost this fight 1 by 1. Kind of like, the ball went in initially. One thing to look at, actually, on the side of Team 1 is they don't have a Brig. They have Zen Mercy, so... Team 2 should have, like, a good situation brawling close to them and playing in positions where they can kind of, like, go close range. And we might actually see that now, like, them trying to be more aggressive with taking, like, 6v6 engage fights where they can actually find value from the Brig. Because, obviously, with a Mercy, the Mercy is investing resources into this McCree, who is wanting to play at range. She's investing resources into the Ashe. So, Team 1 are more so investing their resources into their DPS, and having their DPS rely on the DPS to find value. Whereas Team 2 is more so relying on this strong core to provide good brawl support, to provide good denying on the enemy ball. So this is the actual one time that the enemy ball manages to get the best of Admiral. So they use Trance to survive the Sigil. Also using Rally. It's a nice stun onto the Sig. Sig's discorded. Team 2 committed quite a lot of ults here, but so did Team 1. Team 1 committed Sig ult, Ball ult, Trance, and High Noon. And Team 2 committed Rally, Zen ult, Sig ult, and Mines. So both teams committed a good amount of ults here to this fight. But this is a really, really crucial fight if you look at it, because now that Team 2 have won this fight, they now have a situation where they're playing the Brig comp. So with the Brig comp, they want to be brawling in aggressively. And so they can kind of choose and play in positions where they're forcing Team 1 to brawl into them, which is not what Team 1 want to do. Team 1 want to poke and pressure from a good distance. So this was actually a really, really crucial fight to win here. One of the weaknesses of Brig is if your DPS are taking too wide of an off angle, it is quite hard to pack them, and that's what we're seeing here. Like when the Hanzo's taking top, he's having to invest all 3 of his packs here, because his DPS are taking too wide of a flank. Did they lose someone in this fight that I missed in the previous fight? I think there's 6, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 6 people. I'm not sure why they had to back off here. They killed the ball. Okay, so they just had to give so much space because of the enemy team pushed high ground to 6 and cleared out the DPS, cleared out Shadow and cleared out Amina. And then from there, obviously, because they've cleared all of the high ground, they're now free to push the payload. And the choke point control that they had and the good setup that Team 2 had has now been kind of crumbled because of Team 1 took the initiative to clear this high ground away. And we're seeing the weaknesses of like the new Sigma here, right? Like let's watch this. So Sigma has the shield on top. I'm sorry. He has the shield on top. Takes the shield down. But he's too slow to use shield here. I mean, this is actually not a problem with the new Sig shield. This is more so him just making a misplay. Admiral shield goes down, so obviously he has to back off here. Again, he's playing the cover. This is a lost fight. They're gonna have to reset this one. Okay. Wow, so Dora gets picked off again. And like I said, Sigma is a core piece of this this group, the Zen, Brig, Sig. And so with no shield, him and his Zen are gonna have a tough time walking up. And also they're gonna have a tough time contesting. Which is getting pretty dicey. So he's just trying to contest best he can. Dodging in and off the payload to try and contest. Playing with this cover. His shield goes down. Shield's about to be down. And yeah, ultimately they crumble under the pressure.
The payload has reached.
So one of the key concepts of this meta is like positioning your core in a good position, in a good area. And what I mean by that is like generally you want to position your core in a strong defensive positioning. So if we look at this position over here, what does it provide? What does it provide for his team? It provides good natural cover. The Zen can play with this cover. The Zen can play with this cover. The Zen has a lot of different angles they can peek from. So from these positions, even if he gets Discord, it's going to be hard for the enemy ball to follow up. You're generally playing in positions where it's harder for their ball to find value, and that's exactly what this is, right? Like it's going to be hard for their ball to get inside here when Admiral's clearly looking at him and contesting these positions. The only positions where maybe the enemy ball can get the better of Admiral is from high grounds where he can drop off and potentially slam, or even in open areas where the ball can kind of like roll through. It's going to be very hard for ball to get in here and then roll through them because Admiral's just going to be aware of it, right? So I like the positioning here from Team 2. This is a really strong position for them to hold. And also the other thing, because of the new Sig Shield, Sigma can't now play in open positions because his Sig Shield is going to get pressured a lot sooner. So Sig needs to play more so around natural cover now with these changes. Enemy ball actually boops them all out of the sigil. That's a huge value trance as well because the trance has just denied the mines and the sigil pretty much. He gets the boop onto ball, clearing away the mines. And they're still controlling this position. Yeah, there's no way Shadow's surviving that. There's a Bob shooting him, and there's a ball on him. Okay, so he gets rally available. This is ideally where his team need to be like walking forward with him. His Zen and Sigma walking forward with him. They want to push this advantage here. They want to actually brawl the enemies. Nice group there from Ball, trying to reposition him out into the open. Even though he's rallying, he could have got punished there with a good Discord. So nice group there from Ball, just to reposition him out into the open. He uses his shield there to stop the ball from slamming him up. And you see how he kind of positioned behind the ball here to boot him into his team. Just min-maxing the situation here. Doesn't get slammed. He stuns. He walks behind. He whip shots him in. And this is just dealing more damage to the ball, right? His team are able to follow up on this ball. Okay. So yeah, they do manage to get the pick onto the enemy Sig. Enemy Ashe is in a really sketchy position, so he's just playing this corner here. I think ideally they want to be starting to walk right side here and take this position where they can start. Because if we look at this position here, right, if they can get set up here again, it's such a strong positioning for totally denying off this main area. If Lethal and Dice and Thunderstruck want to play in this open area, they're going to get hard pressured if the Zen is here, because this Zen is going to have lateral cover, and they're going to have only this doorway to play inside. But this doorway is not sufficient natural cover, because they can still get spammed here from the main. Wow. Okay. His Sig is making some questionable plays there. I'm not sure why he's trying to push in there. This meta pretty much revolves all around your Zen. So Sig is not the character he used to be. He's a lot weaker now. So you need to play a lot more defensively on the Sig. Nice boop there from Ball, and he does actually manage to get the better of Admiral here. I think towards the end here, Admiral slowly started to kind of like forget about the ball, or like think less about the ball. Like we saw at the beginning, right? He's really paying attention to the ball, but here, because Ball is so persistent, he finds a really high value boop onto Admiral, and his Zen boops the Zen into the open, and this is where the Zen is getting discorded, right? So let's watch this play again. And this is why on Brig you have to always be aware of where the enemy ball is. 1 second is all it takes. All it takes is this. You get into the open, and he gets punished. And then Ball gets the slam. He's also discorded, so he gets taken down. And that is why the Brig is so difficult, because you have to always be aware of the enemy threats and be looking to deal with those threats. To be honest with you, versus this comp, it's a little bit harder to play the Brig than I think in the previous meta, because if we look at this comp, teams are now running with double hit scan. They're not running a Tracer. I'm not sure if this is... I mean, I'm not sure if Tracers is bad now, because I don't really necessarily know the meta super well, but I know the last meta, Tracer and Ball were played a lot, so you can coordinate those dives onto the Zen Brig. Now, because there's no Tracer on the enemy team, I think Admiral might find a little bit less value versus Ashe and McCree. So he's swapping the BAP here to contest. Obviously BAP is very strong with the drone. He drones the point. Fortunately AFOX decides to walk around the back. The front of the point. And so from there, like, the drone is going to have no impact. But I like the initiative to swap to the Brig there, to the BAP. It was good. Enemy Sigma kind of clean. Okay, Crandop. Okay, dude. I see you.
Ready for battle. 3, 2. Defend objective A.
So again, we're seeing a similar situation to last time, right? He sees the enemy Ball is walking inside the clock tower. Gets a nice boop. Enemy McCree is hard going for him. This is why, like, Ball is not easy, like, fellas. The ball is not easy. When you're playing with ball versus so much CC, it is difficult. Enemy Sigma's playing so aggressive here. I didn't even see the ball there. Okay, so he sees the ball come out. He does miss the stun. Uses the shield here to stop the power driver. Oh, I like this. Do I like it? I think I like it. The only problem with this is, like, the enemy ball has come bottom. The enemy ball has come bottom left most times here, and he's done a good job of denying him.
60 seconds.
I think the enemy ball... Wait, did the enemy ball do a rollout through main? He did, yeah, he did a rollout through main.
60 seconds.
So it's a nice rollout now, and because of this position he's in, he's not really in a position where he can deny the enemy ball from here. And so he realizes his end's taking pressure, tries to regroup back over there. But the initiative with taking this left side, I believe, was to try and deny the ball, like, from taking that angle. Gets a nice boop onto the ball. Really accurate with these whip shots. Keeping that inspire up as much as he can, which is really high value on Brig. I'd be interested to see, like, what his inspire rate is on the Brig. My only concern with his positioning here is, like, he's so in the open. He doesn't need to be this far out in the open. I think he could have been somewhere like this right now and, like, just peek out aggressively for the whip shot. But he is quite in the open here, so he's soaking resources from his Zen that he doesn't necessarily need to be soaking. They have rally. I want to see them engage aggressively this rally. Yeah, and that's what they're looking to do. Tries to... Okay. And that should be it. That should be a fight win. They use mines on point. They have all rally armor. This is going to be super tough for Team 1. I think it might be over. There we go. So this is looking very good, right? Like 2 minutes 45. Try and cap this. This should be a win now. Like, they should get the dub. Enemy's running Junkrat now. And to be honest with you, this comp is, like, really horrible versus Brig, because this is just so much spam, right? And Brig is generally countered, I would say, by heroes like Echo, Pharah, Junkrat is pretty annoying for you as Brig, because obviously there's just so much spam coming through, and you can't effectively deny a Junkrat. The Tracers, obviously the DPS that Brig finds a lot of value versus is going to be like Genji, Tracer, these kind of flanker heroes, Sombra, these heroes that are less about spam and more about flanking and controlling key flank positions. How can a Brig stop a Junkrat from just one-shotting one of his teammates? He can't, right? And that's what happens. See you later, Kevster. You're dead, mate. Oh, okay. The Shadow's on the Pharah, and he's like, alright, fuck it, I'm gonna go Mercy.
I'll be watching
We get to see not only his Brig, but also a little bit of Mercy here as well. Now the Mercy is, honestly, I'm going to be honest, it's a pretty simple hero. It's a pretty simple hero. But the concepts that, like, the impressive Mercy players are the ones that are really adept with the movement on the Mercy. The main concepts of Mercy is, obviously, you need to support your teammate. So, for example, he doesn't need to be flying out in the open here to pocket Shadow, right? He can position himself here, where he's avoiding the line of sight of all of the enemy teammates. So, again, now he's using the cover of the statue. Even though the enemies don't have a hit scan, so they really have no way of dealing with this. So to be honest, he doesn't need to worry too much about positioning, but I think he still should, because if he gets discorded, it's not a good situation for him. Another thing of the Mercy is you have to always be aware. So you have many different targets to track. So you have to track your Pharah's health. You also have to track the people on the low ground's health. Because obviously they have Zen Mercy heals, so this is a very, very low amount of heals. Which a lot of Mercy players can feel overwhelmed with when you have to heal everybody, including your DPS. Your DPS is going aggressive. Drops down. I'm not too sure about that res. His Zen is taking a 1v1. I guess the res is fine because he has this kind of like car to play behind. They're trading pretty nicely, so this should just be a win. Right? Because if they're trading evenly, they're going to have the spawn advantage, right? Team 2 is going to have the spawn advantage. They can simply walk out and come to point. Team 1, they have to come all the way from this position, all the way back. Which is going to mean that obviously Team 2 is going to have the advantage there. Wow, they're just individually popping off though. They clutched this one. They still got a minute 10. This is looking a little more dicey now. No pun intended. See, he's playing in positions where he can see all of his teammates, right? Like this position here is probably the best spot where he can see all of his teammates. Meanwhile, still being in a position where he can see his Pharah and heal his Pharah. Where is his Pharah? Okay, his Pharah's on the ground. I'm blind. He sees the Pharah shift up. Shifts up to heal the Pharah. And you see how he's looking down? He doesn't necessarily need to look at the Pharah here. He can look at the Pharah's HP on the screen. You see Shadow 2k. You see the HP. Shadow's full HP. So he's damage boosting. He sees the ball is slamming in. So he looks to heal the Zen. Unfortunately, AFox gets hit by the mine. Surprised that ball didn't go for him there. He decides not to use Valk. It's legit getting pretty close now. Like, this game was looking really, really comfortable. Team 1 totally switches up the comp in terms of the DPS. And now it's looking a lot more close now. So he has Valk. Notice how he heard the enemy McCree is inside this room, so he decides to play above the enemy McCree. Because if he stays out in the open here, the McCree is going to walk up and just start shooting him. So he decides to play above the McCree so that if McCree does want to walk out, he's going to have to deal with looking up at the enemy Pharah and looking up at the enemy Mercy as well. Team 2 have a good amount of ults here. They commit Pharah ult, they commit Valk, Mines. He's going to finish off lethal. He's teabagging to finish him up. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I've seen Admiral Brig before, but I'm sure a lot of people maybe haven't. Admiral's a very, very good player. I like Admiral a lot. I think he's a solid player. One thing, the things we saw him do consistently here as the Brig is he consistently denied the enemy, ball. Enemy ball was having a really tough time finding value. There was only a few times during the match where the enemy ball actually found value versus him. And those were maybe the times where he slipped up a little bit and did kind of forgot about the enemy ball. But there are so many things you have to be aware of on the Brig. So whenever people say, yo, Brig is such an easy hero, Brig is such a trash hero, like Brig is not an easy hero to play. Mechanically, it's easy to play the Brig, sure. Mechanically, it's very easy to play the Brig. But in terms of understanding and game sense, it's not easy to play Brig. And to be honest with you, even mechanically, it's not easy. When there's like balls coming in, you have to land the exact whip shot to get the Inspire. Sure, the Shield Bash is pretty easy to land, but I think it's really nice to see how Admiral's like min-maxing the hero. He's playing the hero really well in terms of like, we saw the example on King's Row where underneath on the first point inside the clock tower, slaps the enemy ball twice and then goes for the stun. It's those kind of min-maxing that you can find on Brig. I know for a fact Admiral's a very good player. I expect to see him do very well. He is doing pretty well in Contenders right now. If you guys did enjoy this video, I'd appreciate if you could drop a like on the video and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.